A very good morning, children. Welcome back. Children, today we shall take up a new chapter, chapter 4.3, Intellectual Rubbish, by Bertrand Russell. Now, what is the meaning of this chapter? If you know intellectual, we're talking about, educated people, learned person. And what do you understand by rubbish? Now, many a times, though educated, many times, people have illogical thinking. Their thinking is not right. It doesn't have any base. Yes, and then that is what the author wants to say in this chapter, that many a times our thinking or what we believe in, our convictions may not be right. And he does discuss this in this chapter, Intellectual Rubbish. Let's come to the author, Bertrand Russell. His full name is Bertrand Arthur William Russell, and he was a British polymath, a philosopher, logician, mathematician, historian, writer, social critic, political activist, and even the Nobel laureate. Now, you can imagine with so many, talents with him, this man was indeed a very, special personality. He was born on 18th May 1872 at the United Kingdom, and he died on 2nd Feb 1970 at Pensrenne-Deirdre, that is United Kingdoms. His wife's name was Edith Fence Russell, and the awards that he received the Nobel Prize in Literature, and Callaghan Prize, and much more. So this is a little about the author Bertrand Russell. Now, before we go to the chapter, let's do the warming up. Now, there are some situations given here, and the question is, how will you react in the following situations? Okay, so let's see what the situations are. Your science teacher tells you plants exposed to the sunlight grow faster than those always in the shade. And suppose your science teacher tells you this, that you keep your plants exposed to the sunlight, they grow faster. And those which are not there in the sunlight, they don't grow that fast. Okay, so what are you going to do? How will you react to it? Will you listen to your teacher, or will you try and experiment it and see whether it's true or whatever? Okay, that's your personal. Now, your aunt tells you not to go for a job interview because it's a no moon day that very same day. Now, no moon day is the day when you can't see the moon. Okay, so your aunt says, no, Amavas, what we say, okay, in Hindi. Your aunt tells you not to go for a job interview. It's not a good day, it's a bad day, so you should not go. So what answer do you have? How will you react to that? Your friend argues with you that Mount Everest is not the tallest peak in the world. Now, for all those we have studied, we know that Mount Everest is the tallest peak. But if your friend argues with you, how are you going to react to that? A stranger at your door claims to be a magician and promises your mother to turn all her silver jewelry into gold. Imagine a stranger has come at your door, you don't know him, and he says that I'm a magician and I can turn all your silver jewelry, whatever your silver, okay, you bring it to me and I will turn it into gold. So how are you going to react to that? So these are the few questions. So you can write as your personal questions. Coming to question 2. Now all this is on page number 93. You can open your textbook and look into it. What do you notice about the following pairs of words? Now look at these pairs of words. Okay. You have one, act, naturally, liquid, gas, open, secret, sound of silence, sweet sorrow, original copy, only choice, growing smaller. Now, if you look at these words very carefully, you see act and naturally. When you act, you are not, you're putting somebody else's role into yourself. Okay, naturally is being natural, just the opposite. Liquid, gas, they are just Not the same. They're opposite. Open and secret. When you say open means everything is seen, and your secret means you're hiding it. Okay. Sound of silence. Sound is when there is noise. Silence is when you're quiet. Sweet and sorrow. They are also opposite. Original and copy. This is also opposite. Only, that is only one thing, and choice means many. Growing is and smaller is opposite. Okay. So these words, what can you say about these words? They are contradicting. Okay. Contrasting words. Okay. We call this contrasting words. They are opposite words. Now what we do here in this exercise, now try to add a contradictory word to the following. Something opposite to the what is there in the sentence. Okay. So let's try doing this. You have it in your textbook. Now let's start with the first one. What a dash mess you got us into. Okay. What a dash mess. Mess means, your trouble. You can say what, you put me into such a trouble. So what contradictory word? Okay. Opposite word. So you say wonderful mess. We never say wonderful mess, but it is a way of saying. Okay. So what a wonderful mess you got us into. When you're angry and you are in a problem, you'll say, what a wonderful mess you got me into. Okay. Then it is a dash imitation of a diamond necklace. So when you're talking about imitation means it is not real. So what will be the opposite of that? Genuine. So it's a genuine imitation of a diamond necklace. Then third one, my trip to Mathiran was a dash holiday. When you talk about holiday, it's not, you don't work, you rest. But here just the opposite of that is working. So my trip to Mathiran was a working holiday. With such heavy makeup, she looks dash ugly. Okay. Now here ugly, just the opposite of that is pretty. So which word will you write there? Pretty, ugly, because that is a contradicting, that is opposite. Okay. And then lastly, a dash crowd gathered to see the magic show. So dash crowd, you're talking about a tiny crowd. Crowd means you're talking about a big group. So here you put the word contradicting to it is tiny. So if you note that, children, in all these words or fill in the blanks that we have done, contrasting words that go together. Okay, they go together and they are examples of the language device. They are called oxymoron. So what is oxymoron? Oxymorons are words which are contradicting to one another. Alright. So you can read those and even learn and keep in mind these words because they are oxymoron. Now coming to the chapter. To avoid the various foolish opinions to which mankind are prone, no superhuman genius is required. A few simple rules will keep you not from all errors, but from silly error. Now, what is the author trying to say here? Many a times, children, we have foolish opinions. Our thinking, our beliefs are foolish. And we are prone to it. Okay? Mankind are prone, meaning we are, we are exposed to it. Many a time we don't want to believe certain things, but, because we are exposed to it, sometimes we believe it. Okay? We are exposed to it. So, in order to avoid, that you want to avoid all this, you don't need superhuman genius. Okay? Only simple rules, some rules if you follow, it will keep you from all error. Error means mistakes, but from silly errors. Maybe not from all error. You cannot, avoid all errors. You can make mistakes, but at least silly errors. It will keep you away in order to be away from foolish opinion. You can follow some simple rules. That is what the author is trying to say. If the matter is one that can be settled by observation, make the observation yourself. Aristotle could have avoided the mistake of thinking that women have fewer teeth than men by the simple device of asking Mrs. Aristotle to keep her mouth open while he counted. He did not do so because he thought he knew. Thinking that you know when in fact you don't is a fatal mistake to which we are all prone. I believe myself that hedgehogs eat black beetles because I have been told that they do. But if I were writing a book on the habits of hedgehogs, I should not commit myself until I have seen one enjoying this unappetizing diet. Aristotle, however, was less cautious. Now, the author gives, tells us that, in many matters, our opinions, जो हमारी सोच है, it will not be right. Okay, what we think may not be right. So, if the matter is one that can be settled by observation, make the observation yourself. Now, many a time people have some opinion. So, what is the best thing to do? If somebody tells you something, make an observation. Like we saw in the first example there, your teacher tells you plants which are kept in sunlight, they grow better. So, observe it and see whether it's happening. So, if the matter is something that, which you can observe and settle it down, do it yourself. Okay. Now, he gives an example about Aristotle. Now, who's Aristotle? Aristotle was a Greek philosopher. Okay. And he has contributed a lot to logic, physics, biology. Okay. Now, this man, such a great man, okay, Aristotle, he could have avoided the mistake of thinking. Now, he had one thought. He had, one, you can say, conviction or belief. What was his belief? That women have fewer teeth than men. What does that mean? That women have less teeth than men. Okay, that was his belief. Now, how he would have avoided this mistake? Now, we know that men and women both have the same number of teeth. Sometimes it can vary. That are rare cases. Okay, but we know that men and women have the same number of teeth. Now, how he would have avoided this thinking of his? By just, simple, he could have gone to his wife, Mrs. Aristotle, and told her to keep her mouth open and he could have counted. But he did not do that. Why? Because he thought that he knew it. So, thinking that you know when in fact you don't is a fatal mistake. Many a times, children, you think, I know. And when somebody tells you something which is not, you have never heard or never you think is wrong, and you don't listen to them, that is a fatal mistake, a deadly mistake. Fatal means deadly mistake, to which we all are prone. So I believe myself that hedgehogs eat black beetles. Now, he tells another example of hedgehogs. Now, hedgehog is a small animal like this, looks more like a porcupine. Okay, so there is a belief, that they eat black beetles. Okay, because now, just because somebody has told me this, but if I have to write a book on the habits of hedgehogs, okay, if I have to write a book on it, what should I do? I should not commit myself until I have seen one enjoying this unappetizing diet. So only when I have seen it myself will I know, yes, what this is right, what somebody is saying. So, thinking about the example of Aristotle, he was less conscious. He did not think, let me observe myself. Now, here are some meanings. You can just go through them. Fatal, deadly. Hedgehogs, a small animal with sharp bristle in its fur. Unappetizing is not tasty. Bias is a strong feeling of favor towards or against one group of people. Contrary is opposite to or against. And convictions is beliefs. Alright. So I hope you've understood the chapter this far, children. Please copy these meanings in your notebook and even do the assignment given. Thank you, children, for giving me your listening ear. God bless you.